Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics. It's Nicholas Rout here, Chris Baker here with you on this Friday morning for another episode and some more news. But Chris, let's start it off by seeing how we're heading into this weekend weather-wise.
In Los Angeles, California, it is sunny and 77 with a partly cloudy weekend. In Houston, Texas, you got thunderstorm 76 with thunderstorms throughout the weekend. In Chicago, Illinois, it is partly cloudy 89 with a sunny weekend. And in New York City, it is raining today 77 with a sunny weekend.
You know, Chris, I know we've kind of been tending to talk about weather a lot for the intro of these episodes, so I don't want to dwell on that too long. But the rain that we've gotten the past couple of days, and I think it's actually raining right now as I speak, it's kind of been great. The only thing we're missing is thunder.
Well, see, it's great grass growing weather.
And there's the gardener in you.
What can I say?
The landscaper that hides within him.
Hey, I get joy out of my landscaping. Leave me alone.
Fair enough. But I still gotta pick on you for it sometimes.
So, how has everything been? Are you ready for graduation?
You know, graduation, I keep thinking about it because people are asking me too. You know, it's getting to that point where everyone's asking me, are you excited? Are you ready? Are you excited? Blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, I'm definitely excited for graduation. No doubt about that. But it just feels so weird to think about. Like,
I didn't get an
done with
invite
high
to your
school.
party.
That's because we're not having one.
You should.
No, I don't want a party.
No, you should definitely have a party.
My mom asked me the same thing. She's like, do you want a graduation party? I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Right, and she asked me to convince you to have one. So you're gonna have one. You just agreed to having one live on air.
No.
Editor will change that to yes.
Considering I'm the editor, no.
Right, you know what? You don't need to have a graduation party because I'm not having one. But nevertheless, I would expect you to at least have a cake and give me half the cake.
Half the cake.
Yeah.
In your dreams, bud. In your dreams.
That's only fair.
Oh yeah, totally.
We're both graduating. You get to eat half the cake. I get to eat half the cake.
I don't think
Heck with our families.
I don't think I'd be allowed to eat half the cake myself.
Why?
I mean, as great as that sounds, but
sounds like someone's Mr. Strict life over there.
It's just like you got the cake, like, okay, I'm gonna take this entire cake, just don't mind me. I'm just gonna bring this to my room. Just
we'll eat it over Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. We'll eat it while recording this. You guys will get to witness us eat cake live on air.
What kind of cake?
You know, I'm a very simple man, so probably somewhere in the realm of, you know, that actually sounds really good right about now.
I thought that was your favorite.
No, that's definitely my favorite kind of pie.
Oh.
So you were half right. You were half right. I'll give you points. As far as cake is concerned, I don't know. It definitely is somewhere in the chocolate region though. Then you get into ice cream, and then it's a whole like other ball game that's very conflicting.
Okay. Well, I thought it was chocolate peanut butter, so I made you a chocolate peanut butter cake, and now I'm just gonna have to throw it out.
Oh, I'll eat it. I'll definitely eat it.
That's good.
Bud, come on now, it's still cake.
Fun fact, I don't like cake.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
I don't like cake. I like cupcakes better.
That's still cake.
Like, I don't see now.
It's just cake in smaller portions.
You know what it is? I think it's because I'll eat someone else's cake, but I think if it's my cake,
yeah,
I think I don't like it.
You just have too many expectations.
Yes. Like, I've perfected the cupcake.
Yeah.
Like, the frosting and all that, I've perfected it perfectly, with the swirls and the fancy roses. And, like, I've perfected all that. Cakes, my frosting, like, sometimes frosting turns out beautifully on my cakes. Other times, not so much. And I'll go into it wanting, for example, the last cake I made was a red velvet cream cheese frosting cake. Went into it high expectations, really craving that kind of cake. By the time the cake was done the next day, I didn't want it.
You know, this is the first time I'm hearing about your cupcake mastery, so you might just have to kind of prove yourself to me before I can accept you as the master of cupcakes.
All right, well, I don't back down from a challenge.
Yep. I definitely need to taste some Chris Baker cupcakes.
You're gonna have to give me like one or two batches to get back into the swing of my cupcake mastery
Mm-hmm.
because I haven't made cupcakes in a while.
Gotcha.
Like all last winter, I didn't make cakes. I really made a lot of like cookies, pies,
Yeah.
brownies. I don't think I made cupcakes once. I made a few cakes, ending in the result of more than half the cake going in the garbage, which that hurts your soul when you have to do that.
See, you should have just sent it to me. It would have been used ever so usefully by becoming
See,
fuel.
but you know what? I don't think you will like my cakes either because you'll know the amount of anger that gets screamed at that cake if it does not come out the way I want it to,
See, that's
and
part
you'll
of its
be
delicious
scared.
flavor. That's part of that's part of just that. Sometimes you get a nice bitter feeling, put a little dark chocolate in your cake maybe, and just a little extra bitterness from that anger just soaks through.
I, I just don't know what it is. I get so mad at it if my cakes don't turn out good. Like, I get so mad.
You
Like,
know,
they taste good,
mm,
but they don't look good. Which, I
right.
mean, taste is all that matters, but also it's like I've spent 5 hours making this cake because I make
For it to at least look
everything from
good.
scratch. So I want it to at least look halfway decent.
Yeah, and like here's the thing. I've never I've only baked a couple of times in my life. A lot less than I'd like to, because honestly, I really enjoy baking. I really enjoy cooking in general. Um, one of the few times I did bake though, I went to go get they were brownies. I went to go get the brownies from the oven, and just my arm just brushed the inside of the oven as I went to go reach for them, and just that's just stuck with me ever since.
Fun fact, I grabbed a cake pan without oven mitts.
I almost oh well god. Okay, story time, guys. um I did the same thing almost one day. I was making lunch, and just without thinking in my oblivious state, making lunch, trying to like gauge how much time I had before my next class. I go and open the oven, and I'm about halfway to the shelf of the inside of the oven before I realize I don't have the glove on. I would have grabbed right a hold of it.
Yeah, it was not good for me. I'll give you the cliff notes of it. Back during, the shutdown and everything, we still had my previous dog. She was getting sicker and needed a lot more attention. And to keep my mind off of it, I was doing some baking and I don't remember exactly what I was making, but it was one of those things where you have to take it out of the oven, move it
Mm.
around, put it back in the oven. Well, I heard her start coughing and choking while I was getting it ready to go back in the oven. And the self I was in such a hurry to get to her. I picked up the cake pan, swung the door open, threw it back in there, and realizing until after I grabbed a 350-degree pan with my bare hands and then helped the dog. I looked at my hands and my fingers were all blistered up and hurting.
Oh, the
But
crazy
that didn't
things that
stop me because
adrenaline
I
can do.
continued baking.
The crazy things that adrenaline can do to you, though. Just things like that.
But we went off on a nice, beautiful tangent about baking. Nick
We
wants
did.
to bake. I'll help you bake, Nick.
Okay.
I'll get you in the kitchen.
It'll be a grand old time.
I don't know for who.
I don't know. This might be scary.
Question: before we begin into the news, if I let you bake, will you clean up the mess?
Oh, sure.
Sold.
Okay.
I'll bake for you every single day.
All right, cool. Winning.
Sometimes I can make quite a mess.
Yeah.
It would be the first time that I sent flour flying across the room.
Oh, jeez.
Turn on the kitchen and go, too fast.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. All right, but yeah, let's pull it back a little bit. We definitely went on a tangent about baking. We've got a bunch of news to cover this morning. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the COVID-19 vaccine a little bit and what things might look like from here on out. Specifically looking at the job side of things. So one main question that's been floating around lately is, can your employer require you to get a COVID-19 vaccine before you go back to work? Well, the short answer is yes, but there's a lot of information that you need to understand first. According to the federal government, your employer can create a policy that requires you to get a COVID-19 vaccine before you step foot back into your workplace. They also have the right to terminate you if you refuse. However, there are some exceptions, but they are extremely specific. Late last week, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission updated its regulations for employers under the Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, and other federal laws. The EOC says employers cannot force you to get a COVID-19 vaccine if you claim a disability outlined under the ADA law, you are pregnant, or if you have a sincerely religious belief defined in Title VII. Now, you can't just claim one of these exemptions and magically that's the end of it. No.
If your employer is satisfied with your claim and it is valid as long as it does not cause your employer to endure hardship or too much money, you may be given what's called a reasonable accommodation. These accommodations include you being mandated to wear a mask on the premises, working within socially distancing rules with your coworkers, working modified shift, be subject to regular COVID-19 testing, or you may be forced to accept a reassignment. But if your refusal to be vaccinated cannot be reasonably accommodated by your employer, it costs them too much, or if you just flatly refuse with no valid exemption, you can be terminated and your boss has every right to do so. Your employer can require you to provide an official documentation of your vaccination. The federal government says that it is not an infringement on any of your medical rights. And just like the drug test you most likely take before you started working there, it is confidential.
Now, Chris, there's been a lot of talk recently on social media about HIPAA.
Has there ever?
Now, you work in the healthcare field, so I want you to take this next part and start us off with this. I'll jump in a little later and just tell us a little bit about HIPAA and why we're even bringing this up.
Okay, so like Nick said, from looking around, I've seen on Twitter and just listening to people, it has become very obvious many of you do not know what HIPAA is and what rights actually are given to you. Lucky for you, like Nick says, I work in the healthcare field and I can explain all of this to you. First, let's make it clear it is HIPAA, HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It is not HIPPA, so get it right and stop looking like an idiot. If you're trying to make a valid argument, at least have it in the right spelling. HIPAA was signed into law back in 1996, and according to the Department of Human Services, the law protects your right to see your own medical records, though sometimes not all of them. It gives you the right to request corrections on items in your medical records, to know when your medical information is being used and shared, and can stop your medical provider from sharing your information with certain entities without your permission. Now, this is important. This law only applies to health plans, most healthcare providers, and healthcare homes. That is it.
Now I'll jump in here and just talk about what HIPAA does not do. HIPAA does not prevent your employer or your kid's school, state agencies, most law enforcement, most life insurers, or work comp carriers, just to name a few, from requiring your medical records as a prerequisite. It also does not protect your medical information from being shared with your local or state health departments if you test positive for COVID-19 or any kinds of diseases. STDs and the flu are included in this. And most certainly, it does not prevent any private company, business, or agency from asking about your medical information. You can obviously decline to answer, but there are always consequences to your own actions. For example, not being able to enter a store, not being hired for a job, or not being allowed in a public school. There is nothing in HIPAA that bars from asking people about their health, including vaccination status, or requiring proof that the information is accurate. The only thing HIPAA really prevents, it prevents your medical provider from giving your medical records information to certain outside entities without your permission. That is all. Every state governs how far private companies, schools, and businesses can actually push these limits.
And just a friendly reminder, it's HIPAA, not HIPPA. You're welcome for the future. Transitioning into Texas voting laws, early Monday morning, Texas Democrats left the state Senate to block a voting bill that they say would limit voting rights to many voters. The bill is being considered one of the toughest voting bills in the country, and the bill includes bans drive-through voting, bans 24-hour voting, makes unsolicited absentee ballots illegal, adds new voter ID requirements for absentee ballots, limits polling hours, and it would delay the start until 1 p.m. on Sundays. Republicans won the state by 52% in the 2020 election and lost no seats in the Senate. Governor Greg Abbott said there would be a special re-vote on the bill later this year.
So, nearly 2 weeks later, another major supplier to the US has been attacked. Last time it was Colonial Pipeline, and this time it is one of the largest meat suppliers in the US, JBS. It has been confirmed that this targeted attack was from a Russian group called R Evil. President Biden says they are considering all options for reprimanding the Russian government. The FBI said in a report that they are, quote, working diligently to bring the treat actors to justice, end quote. There are currently no requirements from the federal government requiring meat processing plants to have cybersecurity software, but Congress is now considering it. There was also a hack on Massachusetts Steamship, And last month, the New York Times reported a hack on the New York City subway. President Biden is set to meet with Russian President Putin in 2 weeks, and this will certainly be a topic of discussion.
Time to get into some rapid news. I will go first. Today is National Donut Day, and you can go to Dunkin' to get a free donut with a purchase of another item.
Krispy Kreme has given away 1 million donuts for vaccinations.
President Biden said if 70% of adults have received the COVID-19 vaccine by July 4th, every American will get a free beer. Now, Nick, usually we go right into good news from here for the people that are regulars and know the drill around here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a very special part because we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, a year has passed since we started all of this, since we decided to create this podcast and start moving towards where we are now.
And, we just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for growing with us and trusting us to deliver the news to you each and every week. When we first started this on June 6th, we didn't expect us to grow like we have. Back in June, Nick, we were just doing Friday episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then in September, we said we started doing Monday episodes. And quote, we said our Monday morning episodes wouldn't be a regular thing. Well, that not so regular thing turned into a every Monday thing. So I think at this point, it's fair to say every Monday morning news is a regular thing now.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's so true, though. We came into this, just expecting to have our Friday morning news show like we are doing right now. And that would be it, just a once a week deal. But then Monday started coming in and we're like, maybe there'll be enough news to do this every once in a while, to bring an episode on a Monday morning. Nope, every Monday.
And from there, we covered failed elections on why many believe elections failed in the 2020 elections every Wednesday leading up to the election. Now, every Wednesday, we are visiting every state one by one, talking about a dumb law that exists in that state. Then, an even newer is the first Saturday of every month. Nick has his Good News Saturday, which the title is pretty self-explanatory. It's news that is all good news.
Watch out for that this Saturday, guys. That's coming.
And that doesn't even include our Medium articles that we write that are all based on topics that we don't get a chance to talk about here on the podcast. But we have covered all of these news stories, the George Floyd murder, the pandemic, the debate night recaps, everything you need to know leading up to the election night itself, the presidential election results, the second stimulus passing, the Capitol attack, former President Trump's second impeachment trial, Inauguration Day, the American Rescue Plan passing, the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, and what the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan is. And now we've been covering cybersecurity. You have trusted us every Monday and Friday to deliver the news, and we thank you for trusting us to be your trusted person that can deliver the news to you with no opinions included.
Now, I'll say right now, guys, that a year has passed and we're not slowing down. We're not slowing down one bit. We have a bunch of ideas. We're not going to give anything away just yet, as we're still trying to really work out the logistics of it all and how we're going to bring it all about. But we have a bunch of plans for different things coming down the line, especially as we get into the fall months later in the year. And just look out for those because it's definitely going to get even bigger from here. We are definitely not slowing down, like I said, not even, not by a long shot.
But now back to our regular scheduled program. We thank you so much for sticking around. For those of you that have been sticking around for a full year, by now, Nick, this is our 1-year anniversary of Good News. So you better deliver big.
Okay. So in truth, I picked this story before we had decided to talk about the 1 year anniversary on here. So this just fits perfectly. A man just got his high school diploma the other day, right? Okay. How old, you think maybe teenager, maybe young 20s, maybe found a way to go back and get it? No. He is 93 years old and he just got his high school diploma just a few days ago. And this is determination at its finest because he was originally going to get his diploma and everything, but then he originally failed a literature course. He was going to get it the next year, but then he ended up going and serving in the military for a number of years. And when he came home, he worked as a farmer and started his family. And so just the other day, he graduated. And when he was asked why now, what was the inspiration, he pointed to his great granddaughter who just graduated from the same school that he was supposed to graduate from originally. So there are even photos from the article of the two standing together in their graduation gowns and everything. So determination at its finest, waiting over 3/4 of a century to get your diploma, and at 93 he ended up getting it.
I have to be honest with you, Nick. I did see the pictures of this on Twitter earlier today. I mean, everything's on Twitter, so of course I saw it on Twitter earlier today. I think at one point, I'll be honest with you, I think it was even trending because I mean, the pictures of him with his great granddaughter. I mean, it was just great pictures, and I mean, it's not what you see every graduation, and you know, it's just crazy that failed a literature test, went to the war, went to work as a farmer, but then at the age of 93 got his high school diploma.
It's absolutely amazing because he's gone through so much. You think, oh, you fail your literature test, okay, get it the second time through. But yeah, exactly. He goes off to war, comes back, is working on his own farm, is building his family, is doing all this. You would kind of just think that with all that being the case, you'd just kind of move on from it and not really even worry about getting that diploma ever. But to go back at 93, and especially because of his great granddaughter, that's special. It really is.
It shows the determination.
Absolutely.
Well, that is the end of this Friday morning episode, the 1 year anniversary episode. Make sure you come back tomorrow morning for Nick's Good News Saturday. Come back Monday morning for our regularly scheduled Monday morning news episode. But until then, make sure you follow us on the Blind Boys Politics Twitter account for the latest 24-hour breaking news so you are always in the know. Follow us on our personal accounts to see what we're up to. Check out our latest Medium articles. But until tomorrow morning, have a great start to your weekend, everybody.
See ya, everyone.